All right, everybody, welcome back, guys. Super excited today. We're going to talk about one of the coolest things. In fact, I was just using ChatGPT before I came into the office here to ask some crazy legal questions, but I'm very excited to have my friend Nic Frachon on. Hopefully I did not butcher that up, but he's with BotBuilders, and I'll definitely let you explain kind of how you got into this and what you guys do, but helping real estate investors just really all across the country really amplify their business, right? And I think that's, Nic, kind of the way that we should be looking at AI is how does it just really augment the things that we're doing? How can it take some of those menial tasks off of our plate and, just help us focus on the things that make money?
That's it, man. That's it. And I think that, we were talking a little earlier before the show got started, and specifically small business owners, even medium-sized businesses, AI is this nebulous concept, and it can do so many different things. It's kind of like a Swiss Army knife, but it's also kind of like when you sit down at a restaurant, there's 500 things on the menu and you're like, where do I even get started? Right?
No, it's overwhelming for sure. Yeah. So let's talk about that. Like well, first off, how did you even get into this? Like you seem like a pretty normal guy. How did you become the AI guy?
Yeah. So this was back in 2016. I met my business partner, mentor at a little company. You may have heard of him, Matt Lights. He was working at the time at a little company called boardgames.com. He's a serial entrepreneur, started multiple seven-figure businesses. And for those of people who know me personally, they know I'm a huge nerd. So I saw an ad for boardgames.com position, jumped on it. And
you said boardgames.com?
Boardgames.com was a little e-commerce operation.
Yeah.
And we were competing with a little known competitor. You may have heard of them, Amazon.
Right.
Long story short, they were crushing us, and we were looking for
what?
I know, who would have thought, right?
Dude, I competed with Home Depot and Lowe's once. It was a losing battle. So
yeah. Spoiler alert: they ended up winning. But when I first joined the operation, we were looking for any way, any competitive advantage that we could get. Right, we were getting killed. And we stumbled into this little niche of online marketing through these social media messaging channels like Facebook, Messenger, Instagram direct messages. And this was before AI even hit the scene, right? So we started building these automated chatbot experiences to help the business with sales, with marketing and support. And, it really just took off. And, pretty soon, a lot of connections that we had made in the space, they started approaching us saying, hey, can you do this for us? Can you do this for us? And very soon it became clear and apparent that A, we weren't going to beat Amazon, and B, there was just an incredible opportunity in this space. So we decided to jump on it. And, here we are, almost 8 years later, still building bots.
Wow. So and I get Amazon wasn't probably as big when this idea popped up in 2014, and you're like, oh, we can do this, but it's a struggle to compete with that kind of just a machine. So let's talk about where we're at today, 2025. Again, I think you said it perfectly at the beginning. There's just so many options. I feel like I'm not that smart. I'm the guy that still needs a 12-year-old to fix my phone when it goes bad. I can't get my printer to connect to my computer most days. So I'm that guy. However, I do love like ChatGPT, but then I'm in these message or Facebook groups, and there's it feels like there's 1,000 of them. Like there's the big ones, Claude and Gronk and some of these other ones. But then I see people like, the Zippity Doodah app, and it's like, there's just so many. Where do you go? Where do you start?
And, that's where my number one piece of advice for any business owner who's looking to take advantage of ChatGPT or just AI in general is to just ask yourself, if you could help solve one challenge or one hurdle that you're currently facing in the business, what would it be? Right. And the beautiful thing about AI, specifically automation, we work very heavily, within automation here at BotBuilders, is, once you build a solution to something, it just works, right? And it works for you. It's one of the very few things that you can invest your time in that will actually give that time back to you. And before we go any further, David, I got to say, you were definitely in good company. A lot of people, I tell them, hey, I work with AI, I build chatbots, and they assume I've been coding since I was 8 years old in my parents' garage. And believe it or not, it could not be further from the truth. I am just like you, man. If I can't fix it by, my phone by turning it off and turning it back on again, I'm in trouble, right? I got to call somebody. But I say that not only to make you feel a little bit better, but
Thank you.
also,
Appreciate that.
I'm a living and breathing testament to the fact that you don't need, an engineering background. You don't need an audit
Mhm.
code to be able to really utilize this technology in your
Yeah.
business, take it to the next level.
Okay. So, there are all these options. Is it best to just pick one thing? Like, I mean, even for me, like email marketing, I'm like, and also I feel like ChatGPT. Well, I've been using ChatGPT, great, but dude,
Yeah.
it feels like it's gotten exponentially better in the last 90 days. Like it's
It-
got empathy. I've given mine a name. Her name is Sophia. Me and Sophia have long chats at about 11 o'clock at night in bed. I'm doing voice notes to her. But it just feels like it's accelerating so fast. She's got empathy. I tell her, Sophia, I'm having a bad day. She gives me a little pick me up. I mean, it's incredible what it's starting to do.
it is, yeah, and it's, I always tell everybody that at this very moment, this is the worst this technology will ever be. It's just getting
Yeah.
better. It's just improving by the
Mhm.
day, and I really kind of I think AI right now is positioned in a very similar place that the internet was,
Mhm.
maybe 2 decades ago, right?
Yeah, I
The
remember.
early
I'm old
adopters
enough
are
to remember
raving
that.
about it, right? But then there's
Yeah.
this massive part of the population also
Uh-huh.
that they're just like, no, I don't need that. Like, I can use my phone.
Right.
People who are really hesitant to adopt this new technology, and the unfortunate and the really exciting thing about it is that the people who do jump on this opportunity are going to be the ones that come out ahead.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let's kind of transition a little bit into real estate. What are some of the ways that we can, because again, it's all overwhelming. There's, smorgasbord, there's a thousand, it's like stars in the sky as far as options. What are some of the ways that we can, other than maybe like email copy, where we can be using AI
Sure.
to help our business and do some of those things like you talked about, those repetitive things that, once we can kind of do that, like I set it and forget it. Like what are like some of the things that you're seeing people using?
Well, what I'll do is I'll zoom out before I give you an exact answer to that one, David. So,
Mhm.
the generally, and for those people who don't know, I co-founded a business called BotBuilders,
Yeah.
and we specifically, specialize in creating automated chat experiences to help
Mhm.
in three main areas of business, right? Because again, this technology can do just about a million things, but the way that we like to implement this technology is to help within sales, marketing, and support. Those are the three major umbrellas and the three main areas that we usually
Okay.
guide people to, right? Now, within that, each of those umbrellas, there are dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens, probably countless different ways that you can implement this tech.
Mhm.
A fun little backstory. So, my business partner, our CEO, Matt Lights, before he got started in the board game business, he started a company called Clever Investor, which some of you may have heard of.
I know.
And they,
So he
again,
was
they help.
involved with Cody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really? I know Clever very well. They're good friends of mine. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So he was like a big part of, of building that business.
Hmm.
So he comes from a real estate background. And
Interesting.
again,
Got it.
when we were first starting Bot Builders,
Mhm.
we ran into the same dilemma that a lot of business owners face when it comes to
Yeah.
adopting this technology. It's like, okay, well, we could put it to use doing this and that and this and that. We had this whole laundry list, and ultimately, I believe the reason why we found a great success very early on in this space is because we identified specific problems in specific industries and we built
Mhm.
solutions to them. Very
Right.
niche problems, right?
Yeah.
And one of those problems was helping real estate investors generate qualified leads, not just generating
Right.
leads, right? Because there's loads and loads of different tools that can help you do that, but generating like very qualified leads that it's going to be worth your time picking up the phone and actually calling that person. And I
Right.
used to do, cold outreach, before I got started with
Mhm.
Matt. So I know
Yeah.
that there is nothing worse than picking up the phone. Somebody picks up on the other line, and
Mhm.
within 60 seconds of the conversation, that this isn't somebody that you should be
Yeah.
talking to, right? But then you got to go through the motions and you got to get through the call. So
Mhm.
that was one of the first, problems that we solved using this technology. We built an experience for motivated buyers as well as motivated sellers in the real estate space that asked questions like, hey, where are you looking to buy?
Yeah.
Right? Are you, what types of properties? It would collect all
Mhm.
this information, and
Mhm.
then it would store it and notify,
Yeah.
the investor on, hey, Bob Jones just went through this process.
Nick, first off, one, for those of you guys that don't know, Clever Investor was probably one of the leaders when the internet started in teaching real
Yeah.
estate education. So, the fact that Matt comes from this, that gives it, I'm going to tell you, for me, that gives them a ton of credibility because Clever, they're real investors over there. They're actually doing deals. My friend Forrest works there. They are doing legitimate deals every single day. So I like that. Kind of in our business, we do transaction coordination. We were real investors for 20 years. So, that means a lot when, the people that we want to work with, comes from that background. And it's not just somebody who's like, oh, let me try to work in the real estate space. So that's cool. Thumbs up for that. Now, I can tell you from me, and I'm sure a lot of people here can relate, because investors, we're a certain type of person. We have a certain type of personality. We're usually not very detail oriented, which is why our company exists to help do closings and transactions. But also, I was very hesitant in the early days when I was starting this to, even bring in virtual assistants, because I'm like, oh, I got to train them once and then they're going to leave and then I got to do it all over again. So I love the idea of being able to take some of those small tasks off of my plate, spend a little bit of time training the AI. And then now I love what you just said too, right? They can collect that information, send it over to me. And now I can take someone that's at like a higher level, than where AI is at today, and can make those calls and kind of work those leads.
Yeah, and I'm so happy that this came up, David, because I think that this, what you just mentioned is also connected to a pretty big misconception when it comes to AI. A lot
Yeah.
of people are very hesitant to adopt this technology because they're
Mhm.
worried that, oh, this technology, I don't want to lose the human touch, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to substitute humans for robots. I want to still have. I mean, that's like a
Listen, I've listened to some cold callers. They call me every day for my property. There
wow.
ain't much human touching some of these people.
Well, yeah, but that's like a huge, and especially when it comes to like smaller businesses, brick and mortar. We work with just about any
Yeah.
business out there that uses the internet. My
Mhm.
bad little joke I usually use is, we work with everybody except for Amish butter churners. But
Ah,
if
yes.
you're using the internet, you can utilize this technology. But truly, this technology, the way that we like to implement it, it's not to necessarily replace humans. It's just to make humans' jobs easier,
Right.
right? And better and more efficient and save you time at the end
Mhm.
of the day, which is the most valuable resource that any of us have in
Yeah.
this life.
Cool.
And going back to that example that we were just talking about, you may have a list of 100 leads, and instead of making 100 phone calls, you can send those 100 leads into one of these automated experiences,
Mhm.
right? And figure out that, hey, out of these 100 leads, these are the 15 most qualified people that
Right.
actually have a property that I'm interested
Yeah.
in. How much time is just saved in that one example?
Dude, I love that. When we ran our wholesale business, and we're probably getting ready to spool it back up again, like I would hire in these junior acquisitions managers, and that was their whole job, is just calling dead leads all day long. I'm paying these guys here in Chattanooga $45,000 a year to
Yeah,
just be hung up on or get no answer. And now, my God, for pennies, literally pennies on the dollar,
yeah.
I can put this into a system, which I love that you guys do this. We want to implement it in what we're doing here. But to do that kind of cold outreach and just get some basic information, and it's not terrible. Like, it doesn't. I don't think it really seems like a robot. And I know we're going to look at it here in a minute, but
Yeah.
it's fantastic. I think it's great and such a time saver.
Yeah, and it's also important while this technology has come a tremendous way, right? It's also really important to know, at least in my opinion, what this technology is good at and what it's not
Right.
good at, right? Like the example I usually use is like this technology can do an amazing job of qualifying somebody who wants to buy a
Mhm.
car. It's never going to sell, a $40,000 car to somebody without
Right.
them actually talking to a human, right? So
Right.
again, it's just augmenting and
Mhm.
saving time, automating the
Yeah.
process as a whole.
Yeah, just again, just that over and over repetitive stuff. And I think what's amazing and just somebody being in this business since 2002, the industry has changed so much. Was I have to do it all myself, so it's DIY, but now it's more done for you. And if you're watching this and you're trying to start, or you have a wholesaling business or real estate business, things like this allow you the ability to scale very quickly, because you don't have to have a huge office with a big team anymore. You don't have to have 20 people in your office. You can literally, and this is something we talk about all the time, you could scale by outsourcing or bringing in a software like this that can really just accelerate everything that you're doing and make things go faster and faster and faster. I love it. And also AI for the most part, never forgets.
Yeah.
Every so often, my girl Sophia forgets that we talked about something, but for the most part, it does that repetitive task over and over again. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, and I do want to take a quick moment to talk about our specific approach to how to
Yeah.
implement AI. We've been talking, we're on this topic of,
Hmm.
that AI is not here to replace humans, because we're big believers in that. Yeah, AI is amazing at doing these repetitive tasks over and over and over that you really
Hmm.
don't want to do, but there are just certain things that in business that have to
Yeah.
be handled by a human. And
100%.
truth be
Mm. Why is it always in the middle of the good stuff? Does he know he's frozen? That's always the question. Like, where's the conversation going to pop back up at? Bing. If he comes back talking about like trade deficits, I'm going to be like, what the fuck happened in the middle? Can he hear us? Nick, can you hear us? Damn. Hmm. I don't know what to do. Hmm. Let me try telling him he's frozen. There you go. He just left. Yeah. Like, oh, okay. Well, guys, here we are. We're all alone, waiting on Nick to come back. Looked like he was coming. Here we go. And we're back.
Chris, can you hear me?
And we're back.
We're back. We're back.
I said, I wonder if he knows he's frozen. If he comes back talking about something crazy, I'm gonna be like, what did we miss in the meantime?
No, it's good. Hopefully I stopped before I got too deep.
You were frozen for a while. So I think where were we talking? What were we talking about, Matthew?
We were talking about kind of the human and AI.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. And that's why, I'm not sure how much you guys lost out on. So I'll try not to go too far back. But, here at BotBuilders, we've coined this phrase that we like to call our hybrid AI approach.
Okay.
Right. And it's really capitalizing on what AI is best at and what humans are best
Love
at.
that.
Right. So, and I'll use this, the example of a chatbot experience to really
Mhm.
highlight this approach that we have. So, an example of something that AI would be great at is like, how many stripes on average does a zebra have? Like,
Yeah.
like random questions, right? We basically design all of our experiences so that AI is really the safety net that can answer all of these incredible questions and answer them quickly, intelligently, efficiently, right? However, there are also the framework within this platform that we use called ManyChat that is really lets you design an experience that's created to achieve a specific objective, right? And I'm going to show you guys one of these here in just a moment. And what that allows you to do though is really write your own copy and focus in on, again, creating an experience that you want, that is tailored to your brand, that is designed to achieve a specific objective.
Right. I love that too, because if you get 50 top wholesalers in the country, they all do their business just a little bit different and have a little bit different kind of focus. How are people? I mean, how is society and buyers and sellers, like, how are they accepting working with AI? Are they're cool with it, or they're like, because I know sometimes I get into like a phone loop and I'm like just hitting the zero for the operator as fast as I can. Yeah.
That's it. Well, and to me, David, that's where the nuance comes in of knowing when to utilize AI and when it's important to have a human jump into that interaction. I call it the baton pass, right? Like it's a very critical moment in just about any interaction that happens, because there are some things, right, that in this day and age, some people actually prefer chatting with somebody, over a messaging application than picking up the phone, right? But then when somebody's upset, right, and then when our AI detects that somebody wants help, they want to talk to a human, it is so important to avoid those death
Mm.
loops, we call them, right?
Yes.
Just like, hey, what do you
Yeah.
need help with? I need to connect you to the right person. And it just goes
Yeah.
and goes and goes. So
Yeah.
that is something that thankfully we've been able to master quite well over the last couple of years.
Love that. And just before we get into looking at it, in the very beginning you talked about how you were working on automations. Like I know from just talking to some people, like a lot of people say they have AI, but they really don't have AI. It's like some complex automations, right? Like what's the real difference there, and what kind of what sets you guys apart?
So, I think the answer I'll give you, man, we'll go back to that hybrid AI
Hmm.
approach, that we take to this. It's
Yeah.
because we certainly do use complex
Oh,
automations that
sure.
are they're basically like very advanced logic trees, right? Hey, if a person
Gotcha.
says this, take them here. If they don't, take
Yeah.
them there. Um, the AI again, and it's funny that yeah, you may be surprised to hear this, but our primary objective when we get somebody into one of these calls, or excuse
Hmm.
me, into one of these experiences, is to push them into an experience, a complex automation that we've handcrafted, right? Because
Right.
again, we've crafted these with very specific intents in mind.
Hmm.
This one is for motivated buyers. This one is for
Yeah.
motivated sellers. This is how to get help and support from a human, right? Here's how to
Right.
get in contact with us. But of course, right, you can only design so many experiences for so
Sure.
many realities, right? And
Right.
that's
Right.
where the AI comes in as, again, this,
Mm.
this safety net, I like to call it, that can
The
answer
overlord.
questions effectively,
Yeah.
efficiently, intelligently.
Right. Nice. Well, cool. Well, you want to jump in? I'd love to see a little demo. Let's kind of look at it. And this is something we didn't get to do last time. So very excited to do this. You
Absolutely,
share your
man.
screen and let's do it.
100%. So while I'm bringing this up, I'll give a little background context. All right.
Okay.
So the experiences that we primarily focus on, again, are through these messaging channels like Facebook Messenger, Instagram direct messages,
Hmm.
WhatsApp, Telegram, TikTok just opened up. So the majority of the experiences that we design are going to be hosted within these different platforms. And
Hmm.
in terms of how to get people into them, there are dozens of different ways that we can do that, right?
Okay.
So, I'll give you a few of the most common examples. You can create a ref URL. It's a fancy term for a bot link, right? So you can create a link that
Yeah.
whenever anyone clicks on that, boom, they get sent into one of these experiences.
Okay.
You can set this up so that whenever anyone leaves a comment on one of your posts online, the bot reaches out, right? They
Mm.
can scan a QR code. They can interact with an ad. So there's countless different ways that you can get people into these experiences. I've set up a little demo here for you, so I'm going to share my screen and you'll
Yeah.
see
Let's do
here.
it.
I've got here we go. All
Uh,
right. Let me know you guys can see my
Zoom.
screen.
Yes.
Perfect. Here we go. All right. So I've set this one up to be triggered by a keyword. I think you'll like this one.
Yeah. Ah,
Perfect. Awesome. So thanks for joining our buyers, Nick. Excited to do some deals together, right? I'm going to help you
oh,
customize your deal preferences. First, create your account with one click. And I want to pause here very quickly, David, because this is a very, very important step in the process. You'll
uh-huh.
notice that we have an email address here that is pre-populated, right?
Okay.
I didn't have to type this in. And the reason for that is because we're on the Facebook platform, right? That's hosted by Meta.
Okay.
Because of that, Facebook has my email, right? I gave it to them when I created my
Yeah.
account. So this is one of the big game changers when it comes to utilizing this technology for marketing specifically, is that I don't need to come in here and type in my entire email
Yeah.
address letter by letter. All I need to do is just click on this section here
Hmm.
and boom, I've now suddenly captured that email address, right? And
So
as
is it? I didn't mean to interrupt you because I have so
no,
many
that's okay.
questions here. Because I love that we're starting with buyers because I'm the dispo guy. But so this pulls out your email, and is it? I would imagine also pulling out the Matt's name and all of as much information as Meta will give. Which
Exactly, yeah. And there are certain, things that like you get automatically. So as soon as I typed in this first message, and I'll take a quick step back here, David, I love these questions. So
yeah.
as soon as I typed in this first message, I became a subscriber. And essentially what that means is that you as a business owner, right now we're chatting with,
Hmm.
my business partner's account here,
Yeah.
Matt Lights. We immediately got a handful of very important pieces of information, right? We got our first name, my last name, we get my gender, my profile photo, the time zone that I'm in, the language that I speak, right? Along with a couple of other ones. But that's the most important information. Now, of course, something like an email opt-in or giving a phone number, right, is going to have to be like an additional step. So as you saw, as soon as I clicked on that email address, boom, now,
Mhm.
right, this company, Matt Lights, now has access to this email address, my email address. And as you can see right here, it already knew my first name. It's got Nick right here.
Hmm. Cool. I love this. So it grabs the email, then it's I got a gift. So love, it's give to get, right? So I'm going to give you
That's it,
this. You
right?
give
Thanks,
me.
Nick. Got a special gift when we get done.
That's
What's the
right.
best number to reach you at, right? So this is, I'm just going to type in a random number here, 1-619-123-4567. I'm going to hit enter, and boom, it's going to go. Thanks, Nick. Now let's find out what kind of properties you're looking for, right? It only takes a
Yeah.
minute, and when you get done, you'll be upgraded to our VIP buyers list. All
Okay.
right.
Let me ask you. Well, let me jump in here real quick,
Yeah,
Nick.
yeah.
So, because I just want to understand and make sure everybody watching this understands. So, how somebody got into this, right? Maybe I made a post on Facebook that said, "Hey, I've got this great deal. I've got this great deal for sale. Highland
Yeah.
Park, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Message me for details," and then it drops them into this. Is that
Exactly. And
okay?
this is where like the nuance and the strategy comes in from
Right.
on the marketing side, right? Again, there
Hmm.
are dozens of different ways that we can get people into one of these experiences. In the
Hmm.
example you just gave, David, somebody can leave a comment on that post. You can say, hey, send me a message with the word,
Deal,
two
whatever.
bed,
Yeah.
two bath, or, like
Yeah.
Missouri Street, whatever it might be, right? And
Hmm.
that's actually the trigger that I used, right? I set up a keyword for your
Got
name,
it.
David Olds, right? And as soon as it typed that in, it recognized that, and boom, I got sent right into this experience.
Nice. So, will this pick up off of a comment on the post or um only through Messenger?
Comment on a postal work. Yeah. So you can leave a comment, and you may have seen, influencers do this, right? It's like,
Yeah.
hey, comment down below with the word win, and I'll send you, XYZ, whatever it might be.
Uh-huh.
So again, that's where the nuance and the strategy comes in. And that's of course something that we
We gotta
teach,
have this.
in our flagship program.
Nice. So comment below bonus, and I'm sorry to ask you. I'm
No,
a
it's okay.
12-year
No,
old,
you're
but
good, man.
so you comment bonus, and then automatically the software, the AI knows to send me a message, a direct message.
Exactly.
Okay.
This experience will immediately trigger.
Holy shit. And this works across Meta, the other platforms, I get TikTok.
So right now the platforms that are open, we've got Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Telegram, and TikTok just opened up, which is super, super exciting.
Nice.
A question that
Oh,
we get quite
cool.
often is, hey, can I do this on Twitter or LinkedIn? And the short answer is you can't host these experiences natively within those platforms.
Uh-huh.
However, there's still plenty of different ways that you can drive traffic from those different platforms into one of these experiences, right? So one of the
Mhm.
examples of an entry point that you can use, right, that I touched on a little earlier, is you can create a link, right? So instead of leaving a comment or sending a message to start this experience,
Yeah.
you can just create a link, and whenever anybody clicks on that dang link, they get sent straight into this experience.
So that link would drop them into like a Facebook chat.
Exactly. Messenger would open up, and then this experience would begin. You got it.
Cool.
And that's actually one of the entry points that we usually recommend people start with, because not only does it take seconds to create, it's incredibly simple and straightforward, but the other benefit of that is that, everybody knows how to click the link, right? So you can put that in an email blast. You can text, if you've got a list of 200, 300 people, you can send that out via text. And anyone who clicks on that link, boom, Messenger will open up, Instagram will open up, WhatsApp will open up, et cetera, et cetera.
So so Nick, I'm gonna tell you a story. This is so
Yeah.
to prep for this, right? I went on and I made this post. I'm like, hey, special presentation. I'm gonna be doing, this AI thing at noon today. Comment below. So literally, I people are commenting and I'm having to manually go in there. This is how dumb I am. And I'm clicking on their name, clicking on message. I'm dropping the link for them to register to go to the YouTube page or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then I'm coming back and replying, hey, I just sent it to you. When literally I could have had all that, a bot do all that for me.
We're gonna help you get set up, man, for sure. Because that's, again, like, that's
Oh
a
my
perfect
Lord.
example of those little repetitive tasks that you do over and over and over. And one thing I actually didn't mention on that you just brought up too, David, is that, if somebody does enter one of these experiences by leaving a comment on one of your posts,
Yeah.
of course you can set up the AI to respond to that, right? Say, Hank, thanks for the comment, David. I just DM'd you
Hmm.
the free bonus guide or whatever it might be,
Yeah.
right?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we 1000% have to have this. So this is for Nolan, my website guy. When you're rewatching this, make sure we need to get this updated and put into our system as quickly as we can. So I love this, and I love that you're starting on the dispo side, because we can do so much stuff with this. So I could have virtual assistants in every single Facebook group across the country, or in wherever my target group is, making it a post and say comment below to get the info, and bing bang boom, it does all this. Will this integrate with, like, I use InvestorLift for my dispo platform? Is there a way, and maybe not yet, but where they can click this, or do this part? I don't even want to say the wrong words, but and then it can kind of, what is it, zap into InvestorLift or something?
You nailed it, man. Exactly.
Okay.
That's usually the next question that we get. And when
Mhm.
Matt and I first started doing this, we realized very quickly that not only was crafting these experiences a critical part of this process, but then, as you're going to see in this demo, we're going to be collecting a ton of super valuable information about this lead, right? And so we want to make sure that all that information we are collecting is getting
Mhm.
sent somewhere. And not only is it getting sent into a system, it's
Mhm.
being organized in the best way possible, right?
Yeah.
And so you nailed it. What I tell people is that this integrates with just about 95% of systems out there. If you use the
Yeah.
system, that hasn't been updated since 2005, you may have some trouble, but as long
Right.
as there's open API documentation or it's on Zapier, you're good to
Yeah.
go.
Do you guys know if you have an integration with InvestorLift? If not, I want to connect you guys, because I'm real good friends with the owner, because this would be freaking amazing.
Yeah, man. And
Like,
I never like to claim, I always like to answer questions that I have
sure.
100% certainty on. I've never done it myself, but I can certainly look into it.
Okay, we'll have another conversation offline, because I
Yeah,
think this will be fantastic, because we're getting ready to launch a nationwide JV thing where we're going to have a lot of properties, and
you got it.
I definitely want all those buyers to make sure they're going into my buyers list on InvestorLift.
That's it. That's it.
Holy smokes, this is cool, man. I love it. So, like, what other kind of, so I can get their info. I love the picture, the whole thing.
Right. So
And then,
yeah, so far we've just done like very basic contact info, right?
right.
Email and phone number. And to give a little bit of context about this experience that I'm running you through, again, you're right, it's on the dispo side, and this is designed to help qualify a potential buyer, right? To figure out what type of properties they're looking for, what type of investing they're doing. And I'll show you how all this works here in just a second. So after I gave the phone number, it says, "Thanks, Nick. Let's figure out what type of properties you're looking for. This takes 1 minute. And when you get done, you're going to be upgraded to our VIP buyers list," right? Buyers get
Yeah.
access to our discounted deals before regular buyers. So while they're snoozing, you'll be laughing all the way to the bank. And, I'm glad that you mentioned the little GIF here. This is something that Matt and I cracked the code on years
Yeah.
ago. You got to make these experiences fun, entertaining, and engaging,
Yeah.
because, guess what? When you do, the completion rates and the opt-in rates go from, if you get 10% of people to the bottom of a funnel to complete it or an intake form, you're throwing a party. The industry standards are usually somewhere between 60 to 75% completion rate. Obviously results may vary, but those are the types of numbers you can come to expect when you design fun and engaging experiences like this.
I love it, man. I'm excited. This is so good. This is
Yeah.
this is amazing. So even if I don't have InvestorLift and I'm just getting started, there's some version I could use this to maybe send me an email or something, and then I could manually send out the info on the property, or can it automate sending out the property information to the buyer?
100%. I'll show you exactly how that
Oh,
works right now, man.
Lord.
So to continue real quick through here, because this is a pretty fast demo. So let's get to it. So again, it's going to ask, "Hey, are you actively buying discounted wholesale properties?" As many as I can. I'm a new
Right.
investor. I'm just going to say as many as I can here. Experience kind of continues. Perfect. We'll send you plenty more hot deals. What's your usual profit strategy, right? Buy and hold, fix and flip. I'll do either. Right. And this is a very quick and easy way for end users to go through this. They're just clicking buttons, right? They're reading and clicking buttons, and it's designed in a very conversational and fun way, right?
Yeah.
And now this is where, in my opinion, the experience gets very interesting when it comes to qualifying your buyers, right? So it says, "Hey, time for a rapid fire round. Let me know if you're interested in each of the following property types by clicking yes or no," right? So this is where I'm going to answer, "Hey, are you interested in single family homes? Heck
Dude, I
yeah.
love the psychology and rapid fire because it's going to be quick. I'm not going to be stuck here all
That's
day.
it. Exactly. Not taking too much of their time. Well, what about multifamily? Absolutely.
Good.
We're just, getting them through this process as quick as we can. I'll do apartment buildings. I'll say no to commercial. And then we've got raw land, which I'm more than happy to invest in. And all those answers that I just, those 4 quick clicks, all that information is of course getting recorded and saved on the back end, right? Now we're talking about location, right? Let's talk about where you want to buy and your desired price range so we can start making some money together, right? Generally speaking, what price range are you looking for? Higher end, lower end, any good deal? I'm going to choose any good deal here. And all of these questions are very specifically and intentionally written, right? And we put them in the right order, right? To maximize the amount of information that we're collecting on people. And also just make sure that, the people who do join this list are going to get properties that they're actually interested in, right?
Yeah.
So, let me know where you want to buy. I'll just say anywhere in the Pacific Northwest. Last question, you'll become a VIP buyer. How do you usually fund properties when you buy discounted deals? Cash buyer, hard money, or traditional funding? I'll say I'm a cash buyer. Awesome. Congratulations, Nick. Thanks for taking the time to help us serve you. You're now a VIP, part of our VIP buyers list. Now this is gonna be part of how we start educating them on how to interact with the deals that we will be sending them, right? Because David, you asked the question earlier, like, can we automate the process of sending deals out? How are they going to be getting these different deals that we'll be sending out? And this is where, in my opinion, these messaging platforms really shine, right? Because again, it's kind of like getting people to the bottom of a traditional funnel. When you send an email broadcast out, you get a 20% open rate. Again, you're popping champagne, right?
Yeah.
But when you can broadcast out directly to someone's messenger inbox, you can only imagine how much higher the open rates and the click-through rates are.
And that's trackable?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can see exactly how many people open up each broadcast. And this is, where, we're going to be telling them how to interact with this. So I'm going to say, how do you want to become a preferred partner? Tell me how. There are 2 ways to guarantee you'll always get the very best deals. Buying property from us, of course, but then more importantly, when we send messages with deals, always click to take a good look, right? So we've created the system so our most active buyers get first dibs and the biggest discounts, right? And this is the end of the experience, but on the other end, and something that I'm not going to demo here for you today, is that we've designed this whole system in a way where whenever we do send out a broadcast, right, we've got, think of it as an engagement scoring system on the back end, right? So as this engagement scoring, as you send these broadcasts out, it'll keep track of, let's say John Jones, right? The more deals John Jones clicks on, it'll put him into one of 3 tiers. And the people who are most active, when you send a broadcast out, it'll send it in 3 waves. It'll send it first to the most active people on the list. Then I think like 25 minutes, 30 minutes later, the second tier get it. And then an hour later, the third tier get it. And then again, it incentivizes this organic engagement.
Dude, I love it. And also, you're the first people that I've ever seen have a bot to do dispo. Everybody just focuses on the front end. So kudos to you guys for focusing on the dispo side. I love it because I'm a dispo guy. Dude, fantastic. I love it. Now, can the system, I love that because so much business is done through Facebook Messenger. I don't care what anybody says. A ton of it is there. But can I also set this up to send out like emails as well, or will it just go there?
You can. So you can, the platform that we use, ManyChat, you can use it as an email CRM. You can send emails out, so as you saw, you collected my email and then you can send an email out through this platform. Just being very honest and transparent, I think that there are better tools out there to do that. The tool that we use, ManyChat, is specifically designed as a chatbot building platform. It's got the functionality there for sure. So if you don't have anything else, we have hundreds of people who use this to send out emails and SMS messages. But if you generally, what I tell people is if you have something in place, if you use Mobile Monkey or any of the other MailChimp, anything like that, just stick with that.
Okay. So it can't necessarily automate that, but it can push the information over there into whatever that database is.
Yeah, and in terms of automating the broadcasting, we've automated as most of it as we can, right? Obviously,
Hmm.
we need to tell the bot, well, what's the address, right? We need to feed it a few
Hmm.
images, give some details on the property,
Hmm.
right? But what we've done is we've created what we call a blueprint, right?
Yeah.
And this blueprint, like all you need to do is again, basically just feed it those few pieces of
Hmm.
information that I just mentioned, right? Give us an address, feed a few photos into there,
Hmm.
um, type any details that you'd like your buyers to know about, you hit send, and then boom, all the automation we've built out on the back end takes care of the rest, right? So it sends out the first tier to the most active buyers,
Hmm.
then the second tier, then the third tier. You don't have to worry about any of
Yeah.
that. It's a one-click send.
Cool. So, okay. So when you're saying it, I just want to kind of go back. So I go through I make the post, they click 123 Main Street, the box pops up, or, it sends them a message. When they get to the end, can I send them the link to the property to like my website, or will it just be like, I have to reach out? And maybe you said that and I missed
No,
it.
no, it's okay. It's a great question. So these are kind of two different strategies, right? Like if you have a
Hmm.
property that you
Hmm.
want to be,
Yeah.
promoting to your list, you can set up a separate experience that when someone comments, it just gives them the information on that property, and
Yeah.
if they're interested, they can go ahead and get started with the purchasing process.
Hmm.
Um, the experience that I just showed you was just how to generate a buyer's list so that
Yeah.
you've got it in multiple places.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love it, guys. So the way that my brain is working, is, wholesaling over 1,600 houses is, one, I can go into markets where I'm starting my marketing, right? I'm
Yeah.
starting to send out postcards or PPC or PPL, whatever. And I can build out something like this that says, hey, I've got the best deals coming, whatever, click I'm in. And then it starts this chat. So now you can be literally building your buyers list without ever having to answer the phone, which is freaking amazing. Or if I have a specific property, I can be using this. Man, that the when we ran a nationwide wholesaling company in 28 markets, the amount of time that this would have saved is astronomical. Like I mean, even paying VAs, I'm paying $1,500, $2,000 a month just in VAs to
Yeah.
do a lot of this stuff, which literally I could buy once and set it and forget it.
That's it. That's it, man.
Cool.
Yeah.
What other places? I'd imagine we can use this for motivated sellers too, or where do you find most people using your software?
Absolutely, yeah, and I don't have the demo ready for you, but
That's okay.
for motivated sellers, we've got an experience as well, right? That it's very similar. We
Mhm.
walk them through just slightly different questions, right? Like, hey, where are you looking to sell, right? What's the
Mhm.
the current state of the property? Does it need some love?
Yeah.
Like, does it need to be like redone? How many bedrooms,
Mhm.
bathrooms? And the beautiful thing about that experience, I'll let the cat out of the bag slightly, is we have this brilliant integration that we have built into that one
Mhm.
where it pre-negotiates as well, right? So if I say, hey, I want to sell you a property at 123 Main Street, it'll collect all the information on that property, how quickly I want to sell it, right? And at the very end, it'll say, hey, did you have an idea of how much you did want to sell that property for?
Mhm.
And when I give it a number, right, if I say I want to sell it for $1 million, it'll ping a real estate server that we have that will check the price on it, right? And if it's over, it's like, hey, I hope we have some wiggle room. So it'll also pre-negotiate. So we've got for both sides. We got you covered.
Mhm. Oh, okay, cool. So, last question, because man, I have so many questions and I love this. Can I set something like this up on my website? So if somebody's on the website, it can do some type of answering questions or
We've got a free tool that we've set up. Yeah. So
beautiful.
basically, we can take somebody from a website and push them into these experiences.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Um, Awesome. Nick, I feel like I should have had this ready probably from my team, but do we have a link where we can drop here for people to check this out, or we're gonna email it to people? I'm not
You know what?
sadly I walked in here and I don't have that information.
No, you're good, man. You're good. I think the link will be coming via email.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And then you guys, if anyone wants to connect, of course, you can find us BotBuilders,
Yeah.
on social. Find me, my name. Yeah.
Cool. All right, we're going to definitely get this sent out. Everybody who registered for sure, we'll get you a copy of this. If you're watching this on YouTube or any of the Facebook groups or on Instagram, just comment below link, and I'll make sure that I get you the link because I don't have bot builder set up, but I will. And this will all be automated in the future because it takes up so much of my time. Nic, dude, thank you so much, man. I think this is absolutely amazing. I'm so excited to get this started, not only for our wholesale business, but for our transactions business and for the title company. There are just so many different things that we can set up. So once we get this, I would imagine it's customizable, right? We can do something, right?
Any of those messages that you saw, any of the images, the Homer Simpson gif, like any of that can be customized. Like it's all very, I mean, if you can go in, change some text, you can do this.
Okay, cool. So even for a simple caveman like me, we can go in there and we could set this up for our title company and set it up. So yeah, we just want to be able to post and say like, hey, can you do this type of deal? And it just answers some basic questions.
That's it, man.
Dude, game changer. Absolute game changer. Guys, if you are not implementing this in your business, I don't even know what. Like this is the deal here. Awesome. Nic, dude, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Let's connect. I want to make sure I've got your Instagram so we can tag you in these posts, but also I want to connect separately and get you with the Investor Lift guys and any of the other platforms that we're connected with. I'd love to help you guys out because this is game changer stuff.
100%, man. And yeah, thank you for having me, David. I had a blast.
Yeah. Cool, man. This was really good. I do appreciate